Baseball in the 1950s was America's game, being played by kids from the big cities to rural America. A young man's dream playing the game, whether black or white, was to become a major leaguer. During that period, life in the rural South often consisted of working on the family farm, behind the plow, and then baseball on the weekends. Bobby Bolin was just a teenager when the San Francisco Giants scouted him and then signed him to a contract in 1956 in the little town of Hickory Grove, South Carolina.
Well, baseball, that's all we had. We lived down a dirt road that ended at our front porch, so it was choose up sides and go play baseball out in the pasture. So I had neighbors that had 2 or 3 boys. About 5 of us would play a lot of baseball when we get off from in the field, so we farmed. And so baseball was really the only thing that I ever really even dreamed about. It was a small rural area. I signed with a giant scout named Tim Murchison. He signed me, then he signed Gaylord Perry, then he signed Dick Dietz, then he signed Randy Huntley, then he signed Jimmy Ray Hart. So he signed a lot of giant ball players. He found me. I was plowing a mule down on the farm, somehow or another, down a dirt road that no car had ever been on. And he come down that road in a 56 Buick Roadmaster, scared my mule slammed to death. And to make a long story a little bit longer, he said, "I'll meet you back up to the house." And so he sat down and had an iced tea with my mom till I got back up there, and we sat down and talked. I ended up signing really with a scout, not with the ball club, because I just loved old Tim. He was such a great guy. We enjoyed San Francisco. I loved to come and eat. That was back during the Haight-Ashbury days. And it was kind of, it wasn't like Hickory Grove. I thought, man, what's the matter with all these people? They look so starry-eyed. And it looked like somebody done gassed them or something like that. It was kind of a weird time in history during the 60s anyway. There was a lot of stuff going on everywhere. I never did notice that much of I don't know where I was just kind of blinded to it, but I didn't really see much because I grew up in the country on the farm. Man, all of my neighbors were black when I grew up, so we didn't have no problem with them. And they didn't have no problem with us. We just had a great time together. I played on a black team. I was the only white boy. And all 9 of us would get in the car and travel on Sunday afternoon. We'd get a stack in one car and go play all day and come back. But that was quite an era. That was probably the biggest change from, you'd say, from 1960 to 1970 in sports. And I remember they wanted the athletes to take a bigger stand. But my first year had Matty Lou and Manny Mota. I had to go pick them up at certain hotels in Michigan City because they wouldn't allow them to stay in Indiana in certain places. So I'd always give them a ride to the ballpark every day. And I think baseball was one of the greatest integrators of all things, because when all of a sudden you look in the stands, there's the black fans and the white fans. Or you look on the ball clubs and all of a sudden here come Robinson, and then here come everybody else. It just kind of everything started melting in. But I think sports probably had as great a meaning to integration and for all things. Now you look at the lineups, and there's people from every walk of life.
Bobby Bolin describes how black and white young men were teammates on the baseball diamond, thus breaking through the segregation issues that existed in the South. Bobby Bolin played 13 years in the major leagues from 1961 through 1973 with the San Francisco Giants, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Boston Red Sox. Bolin had a record of 88-75 with 51 saves over his career. Baseball brought young men in the South together, regardless of their skin color. In the 1950s, the civil rights movement in America was underway, and no greater example of the quest for equality was seen on the diamond in the small, rural town of Hickory Grove, South Carolina. U.S. history seen through the eyes of baseball, brought to you by AmericanInnings.org.